Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that's all about speaking your truth, sharing your stories, and sparking the conversations that matter most. I'm your host, Rodney W. Collins, and this is the Speak On It Show. On this show, we dive deep into the thoughts, experiences, and ideas that shape our world. It's a place where voices are heard, perspectives are celebrated, and discussions are not just encouraged, but cherished. Whether it's culture, politics, personal growth, or just life's everyday adventures, we're here to explore it all. We've got engaging interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and sometimes we might even stir the pot a little bit. Speak On The Show is where we challenge the status quo, celebrate diversity, and engage in conversations that make us think, laugh, and grow. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to connect, and most importantly, get ready to speak your truth. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. It's time for the Speak On It Show with your host, Rodney W. Collins. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Rodney W. Collins, and this is the Speak On It Show. Welcome. First and foremost, giving honor to God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. How's everyone doing this morning? Hopefully everybody's safe, sound, doing the thing. We had a lot of different weather events going on around the world, around the country. So hopefully everybody made it through. We had snow all down in the southeast, fires in LA, which we're going to get into in a minute. But we're 11 days into 2025, y'all. 11 days in, and these fires, snowstorms, inauguration coming up. We got a lot of things coming up in 2025, and hopefully, do something real quick here. Mike, okay. Hopefully, everything is going to turn out to be okay this year. You know, before we get into the news, I want to touch on something real quick. Something that we touched on it last week. You know, when we talk about resolutions and all those type things for the new year. Russell Jenkins, good morning. Greetings and salutations to you, too, my brother. You know, when we talk about resolutions, I call them lifestyle changes and things like that. And we got into the be intentional, the 3 Ps, which we're going to touch on a little bit today. But 11 days into the new year. And we always talk about how people, you have these resolutions and they don't even make it past the first week or the second week and so on and so forth. And I just want to put this message out there to anyone who's struggling with their resolutions or lifestyle changes in these first 11 days. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You didn't write all those things down. You didn't come to those things in your mind just to give up within 11 days. Whatever you do, 11 days is not the precursor for what's going to go on for the next, we got 365 days in a year. You do the math, 354 days that are left. Keep pushing, keep striving to be the best you. Awaken the best version of you. That's what we're doing this year, as well as, the 3 Ps and the be intentional. But become the best version of you. Not what everybody else wants you to be, none of that. The best version of you that you want to be for you. Brian Hoodie, good morning, brother. Love the new intro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you trying to change up some things on the show. Yeah. Today, I got a lot of things that we need to touch on. And I titled today's show Straight Talk. Straight Talk. Buckle up. And I say buckle up because there's a lot of things that are going to be happening within this next year with the new administration, new people, the different things going on, a lot of things happening. Buckle up. James Battle, good morning, brother. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, my brother. And Happy New Year to everyone out there. If you didn't tune in last week, you're tuning in this week. Happy New Year. You can always go back and watch the show. We're here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. on Facebook and YouTube. And that's what I wanted to get into next. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but YouTube has changed its name to Meta, as a lot of you know. And Meta this week made some changes that are probably, and I'm going to say probably, and I'm leaning towards are going to happen, are going to push me more away from Facebook and straight into YouTube. Now, there's another platform that I've been kind of looking around and perusing called Fanbase, Fanbase, Fanbase. You can go to Fanbase, sign up. It's just like Facebook, but it was created. One of the creators is Isaac Hayes III, the son of Isaac Hayes. He's one of the proprietors of Fanbase. I would suggest, and this is just a suggestion, I would suggest that anyone and everyone start going over there, go ahead and make an account and start looking at Fanbase. Same type of setup as Facebook. However, I really don't want to go in depth yet, but I'll go into it when we talk about the changes that are coming on Facebook as we go in. But go and peruse, and I say peruse, Fanbase. Take a look at it. Get an idea of what's going on over there and how you can change over and everything, because a lot of people are running from Facebook now. I'm going to be one of them, I think, because I'm not happy with some of the changes they're making, some of the things they're doing. So it's up to you what you want to do. But I would ask everyone, if you're not subscribed to my Rodney W. Collins channel on YouTube, please subscribe, like, share, subscribe, go there, because I'm going to be bringing a lot of the content off of Facebook and taking it over to YouTube for the show, as well as trying to figure out how to do it as well on Fanbase. So y'all bear with me. I'll let y'all know what's going on. Reggie P. Rowe, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. Russell Jenkins. Roland Martin is a part of that as well. Yes, he is a part of it, and I'm going to let a little cat out the bag, but I invested in it also. I invested in Fanbase also when it was open. Not going to tell you how much I invested, but I invested in Fanbase because I read up on it. But I would encourage each one of you to take your time to go and look at it, see how it can benefit you compared to Facebook and Meta, whatever you want to call it, and then make those moves. But we'll get into the things that Meta is doing that are turning a lot of people off, to include myself. But we'll get into that in a few. All right. So without further ado, let's go on and get into the news. Let's go. In the news. There's a lot of people in Southern California that are suffering right now. Southern California wildfires started on January 7th. That was when the first fire started. And they're still burning as of today. A lot of people misplaced, and I'm going to give you some numbers. And these are, I don't know how current these are, but I printed this out this morning, but I don't know how current they are. But the burned area from these fires stretches of roughly 36,685 acres with all the fires that are going on. Right now, they're saying there's 11 deaths that they've identified, but I was listening to an interview yesterday about the LA fires, and I think it was the police chief or the fire chief, I can't remember which one it was, said that they are expecting more. They pray that there's not, but they're expecting more because of the extent of the fires that are going on. Now, also, they've evacuated over 180,000 people. Now, some have been able to go back. Some are still evacuated. Over 180,000 people have been displaced from their homes. Structures destroyed, 13,401 destroyed or damaged structures. That's homes, businesses, so forth. 13,401 destroyed or damaged. Cause is still under investigation, but the Santa Ana winds, if anybody's ever been to California or even here in Las Vegas, those Santa Ana winds that they call them in California have gotten up to 90 to 100 miles an hour at times, which if there's a small fire, that wind with the drought, with the dry areas, has pushed these fires to the extent that no one could probably even think about. So that's where we're at with that. But let me just say this, because pray for those folks out there that are dealing with this. Pray for everybody in California. Pray for everybody who knows someone who's out there that may not have heard from a family member or so forth. But I want to name all the fires that have gone on in this time from January 7th. And I want you to listen to all these, because the news is highlighting certain ones, but there's been fires that have spread all over California in that Southern California area. And here we go. The Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, the Kenneth fire. Those are the main ones we've been hearing about. But here's some small fires that have kicked off that they were able to contain, maybe under an acre, 3 acres, whatever. But you had the Santa Ana Riverbed, Hollywood Hills, the Gulch fire, the King fire, the Burt fire, the Tyler fire, the Woodley fire, the Olivis fire, the Lydia fire, the Sunset fire, the Sunswept fire, the Creek fire, and the Archer fire. These are all fires that have been burning in California since January 7th. They have been either put out, taken care of, or they're still burning as of today. Deborah Harris, good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. So these fires, where the news is highlighting Palisades, because it's a rich area. I talked to one of my buddies out there. Palisades is a rich area. Looks like it's all gone. But then you have an area, I think it's Altadena, which is majority African-American Black. You hear about it every once in a while, but they're not reporting on that. But here's something that jumped out at me that I really wanted to touch on. One area likely to feel the impact and encounter challenges rebuilding is Pacific Palisades, an affluent community on the west side of Los Angeles. This week's wildfire there has been named as the most destructive in the modern history of the city of Los Angeles. State authorities previously listed the Palisades as one of the 5 Southern California areas with the highest concentration of potential wildfire risks. The community also is among the areas most impacted by an unavailability of insurance coverage. Unavailability of insurance coverage in Palisades, Pacific Palisades. When State Farm decided to discontinue coverage for 72,000 houses and apartments in California last year, it dropped nearly 70% of its market share in Pacific Palisades, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Wow. In fact, in 2023, 7 of the 12 largest insurance companies by market share in California either paused or restricted issuing new policies in the state of California. Big business. Big business. You know, I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again today. We pay into health insurance. We pay into car insurance. We pay into death, a life insurance policy. We pay into all these things. Over a lifetime, I want you to think about how much you've used your health insurance, your dental insurance, your car insurance, that you didn't get a return on your investment. However, the business that you're paying is making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of premiums that you pay every month towards having insurance in case of fire, earthquake, flood, hurricane, tornado, any of these things that you can think about. But in California, with these fires, they're finding out that a lot of people do not have fire insurance because the state of California, and State Farm to be exact, State Farm and other insurance companies decided that because of the risk, there was no reward. So now when we talk about Palisades, Pacific Palisades is the rich area where a lot of those people probably, and I'm going to say probably, have the ability to rebuild. But when we talk about Altadena and all these other areas that may be of a lesser income bracket that may not have been able to get fire insurance, now what? Now what? But one of the most ignorant things that I've heard this week out of the fires is Donald Trump Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Elon Musk. But I'm going to concentrate on Elon Musk first. You know, a foreign-born person who's come here and is trying to tell America what we should do and how we should do it and so on and so forth. But this is what they wanted. This is the people that voted for Donald Trump. This is what they wanted, the Musk and the Trumps and all that. But this week, he blamed the LA wildfires, first of all, on black firefighters. Let's start there. Instead of mourning the devastating destruction and death that's befallen the city of Los Angeles due to raging wildfires this week, Elon Musk has taken to his far-right hate speech incubator X to blame the fires on, wait for it, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. In other words, Musk using unabashedly racist lies to pin the climate change fuel disaster on minorities. And this is what he said. They prioritize DEI over saving lives and homes, Musk tweeted. He was responding to a post by the anti-LGBTQ plus hate account Libs of TikTok, which claimed that the LA Fire Department ensured its employees were racially diverse enough, something that was then contorted into racist vitriol in Musk's twisted mind. Deborah Harris, what? Exactly. This is what we as a society need to be prepared for the next 4 years and beyond. People like Elon Musk, who they're blaming these wildfires, not because of climate change, not because of the winds, not because of anything other than DEI. So if you're a person of color, if you're a part of the LGBTQ community, if you're anybody that's not white, it's your fault that California is having these problems. It's your fault that the insurance companies don't want to fund it. It's your fault that the Santa Ana winds decided to get up to 90, 100 miles an hour and to push these fires all across California. So the people in the Pacific Palisades and so forth and all those people I named, places I've named with these fires, is your fault. It's your fault because someone hired you, not because you're qualified, but because you're a DEI hire. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Hear what I tell you. Keep in your prayers all the people in California that are affected by these fires. Keep in your prayers the firefighters that are out there. And I seen an article, and I didn't pull it up to give you the details, but did you know in California that people that are incarcerated are trained to be firemen just for incidents like this? They send them out there. They pay them $5 an hour or something like that. And what I also read was the people who are incarcerated that they become or they train to become firemen are the ones that work the longest hours while they're out there fighting these fires. You heard what I said, right? So basically what I'm telling you is when we talk about servitude because you're in jail, these are the things that they make these people do. They're out there fighting fires, getting paid pennies on the dollar, while the regular firemen work less hours while they're fighting the same fires. Because why? Because they're incarcerated and they're being punished twice for one crime that they've committed. Slaves, call it what you want. Deborah Harris. So that's why they are bashing Mary Bass. Oh yeah, they're bashing Mary Bass. They're bashing Governor Gavin Newsom. They're bashing the and I can't remember her name, and I'm sorry I don't have it. The fire chief, who happens to be part of the LGBTQ community, Q plus community, but she worked her way up. She's not a DEI hire. She worked her way up from being a regular firefighter to now being the chief of a fire department. And they're bashing her, saying the fires are her fault, Bass's fault, Newsom's fault. Anybody that got something to do with it is their fault, other than the fact that the Santa Ana winds and one small fire has spread this in many, many ways. And no matter what you think, no matter what you do, it's always the fault of the people of color or the people who don't align with what they feel is right. Just call it what it is. Call it what it is. Let's go. Straight talk. Let's get into this because I'm ready now. Let's go. So you heard me in the beginning. I was talking about Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it. This week as well, they got rid of fact checking. Mark Zuckerberg went down and kissed the ring, just like a whole lot of other people have gone and kissed the ring down in Mar-a-Lago. After he came back, he's changing the fact that there will no longer be fact checkers on Facebook. Whatever you put out there, there's no fact checking. There's nothing. It's just all out. Whatever you want to say, whatever lies you want to put out there, there it is. And there's a lot of people that are happy with this because they don't like to be fact checked. They just want to put their shit out there, right, wrong, or indifferent, and get people to retweet, repost, whatever they got to do. So it wasn't just fact checking that Meta scrapped from its platforms as it prepares for the second Trump administration. The social media giant has also loosened its rules around hate speech and abuse. Again, following the lead of Elon Musk's X platform, specifically when it comes to sexual orientation and gender identity, as well as immigration status. So they're allowing people to put hate speech. They're not checking that no more. They're getting rid of that. You know, it's up to the people on Facebook to report the people on Facebook if they feel something is being said that's out of pocket, it's not factual. They want you to police yourself, is what they're saying. And it says the changes are worrying advocates for vulnerable groups who say Meta's decision to scale back content moderation could lead to real world harms. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said Tuesday that the company will remove restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are out of touch with mainstream discourse, citing recent elections as a catalyst. For instance, Meta has added the following to its rules called community standards that users are asked to abide by. Now, here we go. I want you to listen very closely at this. We do allow allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation, given political and religious discourse about transgenderism and homosexuality and common non-serious usage of words like weird. In other words, it is now permitted to call gay people mentally ill on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. Other slurs and what Meta calls harmful stereotypes historically linked to intimidation, such as blackface and Holocaust denial, are still prohibited. James Battle, Meta also did away with all DEI related programs. I'm gonna get into that. Thanks for bringing it up, but let me get through this one. Let me get through this one. But notice that they said that all these religious discourse, transgenderism, homosexuality, common non-serious usage of words like weird, all these things are permitted now. But the one thing that they're not going to allow is harmful stereotypes historically linked to intimidation, such as blackface and Holocaust denial, are still prohibited. What about the N-word? What about all the derogatory terms you can use to describe someone that you don't like or someone that is of a different nationality? What about those words? You know, those stereotypes that they put on people from other countries, those stereotypes they put on us in this country. What about those words? Are they still going to allow those words because they don't go in depth on that? And it said it also removed a sentence from its policy rationale explaining why it bans certain hateful conduct. The now deleted sentence said that hate speech creates an environment of intimidation and exclusion, and in some cases may promote offline violence. The policy change is a tactic to earn favor with the incoming administration while also reducing business costs related to content moderation. This decision will lead to real-world harm. not only in the United States, where there has been an uptick in hate speech and in disinformation on social media platforms, but also abroad, where disinformation on Facebook has accelerated ethnic conflict in places like Myanmar. They were dragging people out of cars and killing them in Myanmar because they're allowed to have the hate speech and so on and so forth. Real world events will start happening because of these policies that they're putting in place or they're taking away to protect those who use the platform. This is why I have a problem with the platform going forward. This is why. No fact checking. Hate speech is allowed. What are we doing? It's all about the money. It's one employee, Arturo Bejar, a former engineering director at Meta, known for expertise on curbing online harassment, said while most of the attention has gone to the company's fact-checking announcement Tuesday, he is more worried about the changes to Meta's harmful content policies. That's because instead of proactively enforcing rules against things like self-harm, bullying, and harassment, Meta will now rely on user reports before it takes any action. The company said it plans to focus its automated systems on tackling illegal and high-severity violations like terrorism, child sexual exploitation, drugs, fraud, and scams. Behar said that's even though Meta knows that by the time a report is submitted and reviewed, the content will have done most of its harm. Willis Cheney, my brother, good morning. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Dennis Holmes, love your show. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Deborah Harris, it's The Purge. Never seen it, but that's what I hear. And here's the thing that I want people to understand. I don't consider myself to be a holier than thou person. You know, none of that. But I stand on principle. And I hope you do too. But I stand on principle. And when I read this, at first, when I heard it on the news, I was like, nah, it is what it is. But then I started reading. And I started getting an understanding of where this ship is going. Where this ship is going. What they're doing is that they're trying to give a platform to the most egregious people that we have in this country. And when I say egregious, I'm talking about the racists, the white supremacists, the white nationalists, those who think that their superiority lies in their skin tone because their melanin content is less than ours. That makes them superior to us. See, this is where I think a lot of us need to step back for a minute and all the things that we think are niceties. You know how we get into these discussions at times about, oh, we're gonna boycott Gucci, and it happens for like a day and we're still buying Gucci, or when Tommy Hilfiger said that he doesn't make clothes for black folks and we still got people wearing Tommy Hilfiger, those type things. And then we say, oh, we're gonna stop using this, we're gonna stop using that. Eventually, these things come back to haunt us, and now we have to make solid decisions, not just as an individual, but as a people. We have to look at the bigger picture of who this is going to affect, how it's going to affect us, and what we need to do going forward. As I mentioned before, we have a platform by Isaac Hayes III called Fanbase. And I'm going to tell you again, go and check it out. It has the same, the same platform type as as a Facebook. X, I've been off X a long time. I got rid of X a long time ago. I never really posted on there. I went on there, read a lot of things. I seen where it was going once Elon Musk took over. I eliminated my account. There's certain things you got to stand on principle. You got to stand on principle. The way this direction is going, when everybody running down here, what they're doing is they're getting ahead of the fact that they don't want to draw the ire of this incoming president. So they're doing everything in their power to get on this good side. Which is why Meta is doing what they're doing. Which is why X, owned by Elon Musk, has done what he's done. And you're going to see it more and more and more and more with these big corporations doing these things. And we want to get into that right now. Several major companies have recently scaled back or ended the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs because of this incoming president and everything that's been going on over the years. When you talk about DEI, as I mentioned, Elon Musk blamed wildfires on DEI. Everything is being blamed on DEI. DEI is not a tool. DEI was a movement to allow people the opportunities that they were not being given because of their skin tone, because of their nationality, because of anything you can think about that separates them, not from their qualifications, just because of how they look. And now we have big corporations where you're going to have to really sit down and think about whether you want to still purchase things from these people, use these platforms. All this comes into play. Now, I'm going to name some, and I know this is not all of them, but I'm going to name some. April Wheaton, good morning, sis. Appreciate you. Meta platform, as we just mentioned. Meta is the terminators of DEI initiatives related to hiring, training, and supplier selection. This decision aligns with a broader shift in the corporate landscape and precedes President-elect Donald Trump's upcoming term. Amazon. You know, all y'all getting them Amazon boxes, Jeff Bezos and everything. Oh, wait a minute. Slow down. Watch this. Amazon, the company is phasing out certain DEI programs, aiming to integrate inclusivity in existing processes rather than maintaining separate initiatives. Separate initiatives have been going on forever whenever they did this, which is why we had to have DEI from the beginning. But hey, let's talk about it. DEI is the new CRT. Watch out now. Appreciate you, Kirk. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. This is where we're at, y'all. Walmart. You know, all y'all want to make you run to Walmart, do you shopping at Walmart? Walmart has announced plans to discontinue its Center for Racial Equity and will no longer prioritize suppliers based on race or gender. Listen to that part. Will no longer prioritize suppliers based on race or gender. Additionally, the retailer is reassessing its participation in LGBTQ plus inclusion benchmarks. Now that's Walmart. Walmart. McDonald's. The fast food giant is retiring specific diversity targets and pausing participation in external DEI surveys, reflecting a shift in its approach to diversity initiatives. Ford Motor Company. Ford plans to cease engaging in public discussions on polarizing issues and will no longer participate in the Corporate Equality Index, indicating a move. Harley Davidson, the motorcycle manufacturer, has ended its diversity and progressive initiatives, including the dissolution of its DEI function and the elimination of hiring quotas and supplier diversity spend goals. John Deere, the agriculture machinery company, has announced plans to eliminate all DEI policies in favor of a quality-based workplace, including discontinuing diversity quotas and removing socially motivated messages from training content. And the last one I have, Tractor Supply. The retailer is halting the sponsorship of non-business activities such as pride festivals and voting campaigns to focus more on rural American priorities. When you say you want to focus on more rural American priorities, I know that sounds me a little rural, R-U-R-A-L. I can't get that word out. Y'all bear with me. Rural. When you say rural, basically what you're saying is white America. I said it. When you tell me rural America, you're talking about white America. You're not talking about an inclusive America. You're talking about white America. Let's just cut through the boo. This is where we're at. This is what we're dealing with. This is the things that are going to be going on in these next 4 years, and they've already started, and this man is not even in office yet. But hey, who am I? Who am I? I'm just a brother with a microphone and a camera that comes to you every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, to try to give you information about what's going on that you may not hear about on mainstream media. But if you take your time to read, you can read it and find it anywhere you want, because they're not going to go in depth of the things and how it's going to affect you. They're just going to give you the headlines that Meta is getting rid of their policies as far as fact checking. They're not going to tell you that they're getting rid of DEI. They're not going to tell you McDonald's is getting rid of DEI. They're not going to tell you all these things because why? Because corporations put commercials on their business platform in order to make money. There's commercials run on these platforms. So they're not going to tell you how it's going to affect you. They're just going to tell you they're getting rid of it. And a lot of people is like, it don't affect me. Yes, it does. As I said on the show back in 2024, DEI, the elimination of DEI affects everyone. As you see, they're bringing up the LGBTQ plus community and so on and so forth. Wills Cheney, Costco is still holding on to maintain their DEI initiative. I appreciate that, Costco. Don't buckle. Don't fold on me, Costco. Don't fold on me. Stand strong. Stand strong. But it's funny. It's something we should laugh about, but we have to be serious about it at the same time. When I bring these things up, this is not to get everybody running like roaches when the light comes on or ants when you spray something. No, this is for us to be aware that these things are coming down the line. So you're aware that these things could affect you. You know, you also have to make conscious decisions. Do I still want to shop at Walmart when I know that they're discriminating the DEI and how it's going to affect the people in the workplace at Walmart? Do I still want to go to McDonald's and grab that Big Mac or the McRib or whatever I want to pick up in the drive-thru, knowing that they've eliminated? Because here's one thing that I know. Y'all remember Calvin? Y'all remember Calvin? I know y'all remember Calvin. Calvin on the McDonald's commercials, where everybody laughed at Calvin when he was coming home with the McDonald's uniform on, and then they made Calvin a manager at McDonald's. That was diversity, equity, and inclusion before we even had diversity, equity, and inclusion. Calvin was a manager by the time the commercial went off. But the neighborhood laughed at Calvin. Now, the neighborhood ain't laughing at Calvin because corporate America is getting rid of Calvin. They're not giving the Calvins of the world an opportunity to become a manager anymore. They're not giving the Calvins in the community coming home, riding his bike to McDonald's every day to flip those burgers for somebody to keep that company running. They're not offering them those positions anymore. Not because he's not qualified, because he doesn't fit the description of what they want people to see. They don't want to seem like they're giving people of color jobs just because, but they get rid of the whole thing. But now if you get promoted, it's not because of DEI. It's because you're qualified. But you were qualified from the beginning. Kurt, he had a job. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Brian Hoodie, white women who are benefiting from DEI are pretty quiet now. Yeah, they're quiet. Yeah, they're quiet. Because there's a whole lot of, I'll give you a prime example. Do you remember when we talked about the lawsuit for the colleges that had the DEI and the Asians went and put a lawsuit in? I think it was with Yale. They put a lawsuit in saying they were being discriminated against because of DEI and they weren't getting in and all that kind of stuff. Where they at now? Where they at now? Because DEI benefited, and I'm going to say this, and people get mad, but I'm going to say it, and I've said it before, and I'm going to continue to say it. DEI and the Civil Rights Act and everything that's going on for African Americans in this country, more other people in this country have benefited more than we have. The Jewish people in this country have benefited from the Civil Rights Act more than we have. The Asian people in this country have benefited from the Civil Rights Act more than we have. But when you say DEI, they think it only pertains to us. No, it's going to affect them too. And the white women in this country and in this country who have benefited from DEI all these years and were big staunch Trump supporters. And one time they're talking about, don't get rid of abortion, but they got rid of it, but you still voted for him. And then you see the way that he treats these women, but then you're okay with putting them in office. DEI is going to affect a lot of people. Economic pressure, legal challenges, political and social backlash, cultural shifts, measurement challenges. All these things are going to be affected with these companies getting rid of DEI. You may not think it's affecting you, but there is always the trickle down, as they call it. It didn't trickle down to us in a good way at any time, but it always trickles down to us in a bad way and affects us in more ways than we understand and that we're prepared for. That's all I'm saying. We got to get better at paying attention to the things that are going on, because at this point, they give a damn about us because they're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. Let's go ahead and click this in real quick. We'll be right back. Fellas, it's time to elevate your grooming game. Introducing Respected Roots, the premium beard care line designed with black men in mind. Because your beard isn't just facial hair, it's a statement, a symbol of confidence, style, and strength. All right, let's talk about keeping your beard sharp and on point. First step, sculpting. Fresh lines are everything. Keeping it clean and defined sets the foundation for a great beard. Once I've got the shape locked in, it's time to cleanse. The Respect the Roots Beard Wash gets rid of dirt and buildup without drying out my beard. It leaves my beard feeling soft and refreshed. Next up, the beard oil. This is where the hydration magic happens. I massage it in, making sure it gets to the skin underneath. It keeps my beard moisturized and smelling fresh all day. And finally, the beard butter. This locks in all the moisture, smooths out any frizz, and gives my beard that healthy, polished shine. Look at this. It's soft, full, and ready to dominate. From sculpting to styling, Respect the Roots has everything you need to take your beard to the next level. Gentlemen, your beard deserves respect, and respect starts with Respected Roots. Use the link to grab yours today and receive 15% off. Trust me, your beard will thank you. RespectedRoots.com/Rodney 55428. Welcome back. That's www.respectedroots.com/Rodney 55428. That's Rodney 55428. Just remember, when you go there, use the link specifically. Don't go to just www.respectedroots.com and then put it in there. Put the whole thing, www.respectedroots.com/Rodney 55428. Once you click on that, once you put that in, it's going to give you a different code that's going to automatically populate into the cart for when you check out, it's going to automatically show your 15% discount at that time. www.respectedroots.com/Rodney 55428. Go ahead and purchase yourself. Get your beard right. All right. So let's move on here. So we seen. Let's go ahead and put this up here, man, because I want to make sure that we get into this, because I don't have a lot of time left, but I want to put this out there because there's a couple things I want to talk about. But right here, did y'all see this yesterday? This was the courtroom where Donald Trump was being sentenced yesterday. He was sentenced. He was handed a sentence in the hush money case and received an unconditional discharge on all counts. Unconditional discharge cements his criminal conviction for the 34 felony counts and ensures it will remain in his criminal record. However, it also means there will be no further consequences. He will receive no jail time, a fine, or be put on probation. In other words, it confirms he's a convicted felon, but frees him to pursue his presidential duties and live his life with no obligations or consequences related to the crime. I have a problem with that. I have a very big problem with that, and I hope you do too. Because it just shows you, when we talk about a different justice system, depending on if you had the complexion for the protection, this is what we talk about. This is what we talk about. And a lot of people out there don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it again, and I've said it many times before, and I'm going to continue saying it. The reason this man ran for president was to stay out of jail, and that's what he did. The reason he ran for president was to stay out of jail, and that's exactly what he did. And the systems worked in his favor, because they always do. But I'm going to just say this. The impact of a 34 felony conviction on an everyday citizen versus someone like Donald Trump varies significantly due to differences in resources, influence, and public perception. Here's a breakdown of how it might affect both. The everyday citizen, immediate consequences, arrest and detention, plus legal fees, because you're defending 34 different charges. Employment, you'll lose your job. Defending yourself against 34 convictions, felony convictions that you have against you. Future employment, a felony conviction severely limits job prospects as many employers conduct background checks. Reputation, social stigma. Being charged with felonies often leads to societal ostracization, impacting personal relationships and community standing. Sentencing, Punishment convictions often result in prison time, fines, and probation, with fewer opportunities for reduced sentencing or plea deals without proper legal representation. Donald Trump, on the other hand, public scrutiny versus detention. He has a high-profile legal team, which he used money that was given to him for his election to pay for his legal defense. Employment. He's a businessman, self-employed. Reputation. How's it going to affect his reputation? Sentencing. Leniency. He got leniency on everything. For the everyday citizen, the broader implications, the case highlights disparities in the justice system and raises awareness about systemic issues such as unequal access to legal resources. For Donald Trump, it underscores the complexities of prosecuting high-profile individuals where legal matters intertwine with politics and public perception. Now, I read all that to you to say this. Donald Trump. Let's get to James Battle. Why he have the American flag behind him like he's in the White House or something? Insanity is real. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to put this picture up. I wanted people to see this is a courtroom. This is a courtroom where someone who has been indicted and has gone to trial would be sitting to hear what his sentence is going to be for the crimes he was found guilty of by a jury of his peers. But in this, you see, this man is able to sit with his lawyer with flags behind him on a TV screen during his sentencing. But there's not a double standard when it comes to the justice system. Because I can guarantee you, Rodney W. Collins would have been sitting right there in that chair being sentenced in shackles, because I probably wouldn't have ever been released back into society once they arrested me and indicted me for whatever I did. But these people in this country voted this man to be president a second time. A convicted felon. And I'm going to say what I always say. Most of these people who ever came in contact with a convicted felon are clutching their purse, going in the corner holding their purse tight, in an elevator, in passing, in a store, on the street, and 9 times out of 10, they didn't even know the person was a convicted felon. All they knew is he was black. I said it. He was black. We've seen it. We still see it today. You know, when they follow you around the store? You know, when somebody clutches their purse a little tighter? When they pull the keys a little closer? Just because you got on the elevator? Because you're black? Brown hoodie. Does that mean Diddy getting out soon because he rich too and can use this ruling as case law? No, they ain't letting him out. Come on, bro. He don't have the complexion for the protection unless he got some names of them people that was at them parties with the baby on and everything. I'm not going down that road. But if they in the books, if they in the records, if they got the video, he may walk. But you have to remember, most of them people look like us. They look like us. You got to remember, Red Fox served time for taxes. Ronald Isley served time for taxes. Not fraud, not paying taxes. He was sentenced for fraud and won't do a day. Wesley Snipes served time. They got money. Probably wasn't the right money, but they got money too. They have money too. And this right here is what Donald Trump posted. I'm not going to read it, but he put on here, basically he was saying that the Democrats lost again. And then he said he was vindicated because he didn't get any time or anything like that. The only reason he didn't get any time is because he's president-elect, which I think is boo. That's the only reason he didn't get any time was because he's named as president-elect. That's it. But in his statement, he's saying he wasn't charged with anything. It was a witch hunt. You know, all his fervor that he uses all the time. It's the same old, same old. It's the same old, same old. But for a minute, let me go here for a minute. I'm gonna remove this for y'all. Let me go here for a minute. And I want to say this. I remember when I talked about Barack Obama and I didn't agree. Didn't say I didn't like him. I didn't agree with the way Barack Obama presented his message to African-American men during the election cycle. A lot of pushback on that. I can take it. It is what it is. But I got another problem with Barack Obama today. I said it. I got another problem with him today. Because there ain't no way, excuse me, there isn't any way that I'm going to sit and chuckle up and kiki and ha-ha with the likes of a man who has basically called me everything under the sun outside of being an American citizen, and chuckle up and kiki because we're in a setting of respecting a former president. The one person that I have a lot of respect for that I seen at that funeral was George W. Bush. George W. Bush walked past him, tapped Barack Obama in the stomach, kind of punched him in the stomach or whatever, and sat down. He ain't say nothing to Donald Trump. The person I have the utmost respect for is Mike Pence's wife. Because Mike Pence had the nerve to stand up and shake this man's hand. The man who tried to have him killed because he wouldn't go along with his plan, he shook his hand. Shook his hand. His wife didn't acknowledge him or his wife, Melania. She sat there stone-faced like, I can't believe your is over here. And I guarantee, I'm going to say this because we know Mike Pence and we know his wife and how, I guarantee he heard it in all right here on that ride home. There is no way in this world. I understand forgiveness. I understand turning the other cheek. No, not in this case. No. I might turn the other cheek when I ain't near him. But wouldn't be me. Barack, what we doing? What we doing? Mike Pence, what you doing? You kissing the ring? What are y'all doing? This man could give a damn about any of y'all. He would have had you killed if he had his wherewithal to have it followed through with. And you're in there shaking his hand and kikiing and ha-ha. Couldn't have been me. Wouldn't have been me. James Battle, me neither. I would want to punch him in the face. I wouldn't even want to punch him in the face. He'd walked up on me and walked off. There's certain signs you can give a person like, don't. No, I ain't the one. I'm not the one. But I'm going to say this. I told my wife this, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. Y'all record it. I'm going to say this. I guarantee, if Michelle had been there, Barack Obama, Barack Obama wouldn't have been sitting there kikiing and ha-ha with that man. I guarantee you that. I don't care what you say what you want. I know how we act when we with a strong black woman that knows that somebody has disrespected her man in more ways than one. Not only him as a man, but his family and so forth. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You can't tell me that any of us black men would have been able to sit there and kiki and ha-ha with that white man who has minimized us to being nothing with our black wife sitting next to it. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And I guarantee Barack got an earful when he got home too. Okay. Y'all play if y'all want. But it wouldn't have been me. It would not have been me. They wouldn't have been able to sit me beside him. Nope. No. No how, no way. But I want to get into this. I want y'all to remember something. Y'all remember this? You remember when we had the movement of Black Lives Matter? Hold on for a minute. Kurt, she probably saw the seating arrangement before, and that's why she didn't come. No, she had a previous engagement. Michelle said she had a previous engagement. I'm going by what she said. She had a previous engagement, bro. Because I'm pretty sure she would have been there to look at him like, okay, yeah. Anyway, I digress. Let me get back. Y'all remember Black Lives Matter? It ain't been that long ago. Y'all remember George Floyd? Y'all remember all the people we were standing up for? We were talking about the police brutality and all these things. We had Black Lives Matter movement. We had George Floyd. They said if he would have only complied and so on and so forth, he would have still be alive and he was a criminal. He deserved to die. Basically, without saying it, that's what they said. You remember Sandra Bland? You remember Michael Brown in St. Louis? You remember these people that were killed at the hands of police, and they told us if they would have only complied, Black Lives Matter, and so on and so forth, because we had this push about police brutality in our communities, and we were upset about it, and we were tired of it. And then they came out with this. Police and law enforcement officers come in all colors. Wake up, America. Blue lives matter. Black lives matter. All lives matter. You remember this? Y'all remember this, right? Y'all remember when all these people, this police brutality was going on, and they were all Blue Lives Matter. They had the flag with the blue line in it, and they were saying protect our police and don't defund the police and all these different things they were saying to defend the police department. Blue Lives Matter. And they did. And they do. Until this. Y'all remember this, right? Y'all remember this, right? Blue Lives Matter until the insurrection. Blue Lives Matter until all these people who they say Donald Trump is going to pardon because of their acts and what they did when they went in there and tore up the Capitol, beat up policemen, injured policemen, broke down walls, broke down doors, put feces all over walls and stuff in offices and everything in the Capitol. Blue Lives Matter until now. Until this incident, Blue Lives Matter. Blue lives never mattered. Blue lives never mattered to those people. And I'm going to tell you why. The blue lives that they thought and they wanted you to think that they were defending, that they were standing for, that they were strongly for at that time, they didn't give a damn. They didn't care about these people. They just didn't want to hear from you people. These are the people that they didn't want to hear from, so they took a side that was against this. They didn't want to hear about the struggles and the strife and everything we go through when it comes to police brutality. They didn't want to hear that. So they found a way to get people to ride this wave of Blue Lives Matter. Because Black lives don't matter at the hands of police in their eyes. But then they came out with that thing talking about all lives matter. Blue lives matter, Black lives matter, all lives matter. Then they had something say white lives matter. But then we had this. And it's so funny to me how they try to sweep this under the rug and act like it never happened. How they want to sweep this under the rug and say that former president at the time, who was about to leave office, had nothing to do with it. He didn't incite this riot. These were people that just were going for a tour of the Capitol. But Blue Lives Matter. See, this is something that the historians try to sweep under the rug. Just like they tried to sweep anything CRT, 1619 Project, as you see the book sitting there. And try to sweep all these things under the rug. It never happened. These things didn't go on. No, it didn't happen. But as we sit here today, Kanye West, as we sit here today, right after the anniversary of what happened on January 6th, and you ask yourself, how did we get here? How did we get here? Not only to being 4 years later, but for this man who incited this to become president again, for people to overlook anything and everything he's done, and we can go all the way back to him and his father redlining black folks from getting apartments back in, what was it, 70s, 60s, 70s, all the way up to the point of, sexual assault on E. Jean Carroll, the 34 felon convictions, the twice being impeached for things that are unbecoming of a sitting president at the time. And we can run all that down, but no matter how much you run that down, no matter how much, there are still people out here that support him strictly because he's white. Strictly because he's white. And to them, to those people, white is right. When we talk about white supremacy, white nationalism, white this, white that, this is not something that just came up yesterday. This has been going on since slavery. White superiority complex has been going on forever. You know, we talked about last week how you had these guys that one drove through Louisiana and the other guy that parked out in front of Trump Tower here in Las Vegas. But then we talked about Timothy McVeigh, who blew up the Oklahoma Federal Building back in the day. And we sit and we wonder and we ask ourselves, how do people get to this point? What makes people want to do these things? And there's a lot of things that, you have to step back and ask yourself, when we talk about terrorism in this country after 9/11 and what happened on January 6th, there's certain precautions they take against certain people. Black Lives Matter was a movement about police brutality, but they hijacked it to make it look like we were a radical group trying to overthrow anything and everything about this country. Same thing with the Black Panthers, if you think about it. Same thing, if you really, really think about it, what they did to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and what they did to Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. But we have a person about to become president of the United States for the second time who has shown his discord, distaste, has spewed out all vitriol against anybody and everybody that's in this country, whether they came here legally or not, that does not have a certain look to them. And when I talk about a certain look, I'm talking about your melanin content. People say, he's not racist. You can't prove he's racist. His actions show us that he's racist. The actions that the people that support him take shows that they're racist towards anyone who doesn't look like him. But we're wrong when we bring it up. Which is why I bring up Meta, Facebook, those Walmarts and McDonald's and all these different things. When you sit back and you think about it, we've come a long way from where our ancestors started. But at this point in our lives, we're seeing everything that they fought for us to stand on slowly being chipped away. Slowly but surely. And they've been doing it quietly for so long that we didn't even pay attention to it. We just thought it was this incident or that incident or this incident or that incident. But now we have these people in power who are being allowed, because of decisions of the Supreme Court and so on, to not just chip away, but to strategically just take it away. While we sit quietly and just watch these things happen. Because one, we don't stand on the principles of what we know to be true as this is wrong. We don't stand on the principles of what I mentioned when they said Gucci didn't treat our people right, boycott Gucci, and we still bought it. Boycott Tommy Hilfiger, but we still bought it. Because we're so caught up in the consumerism of buying what we think is popular, rather than investing in ourselves and our own communities. Donald Trump becoming president for the second time is not a mistake. It's a plan. It's a plan. And it's been a plan for someone like him to come along with the beliefs that he has and being able to put these pawns in a chess game in place to undo anything and everything that has been done since the Civil War. But if you say that to people that support him, they'll call you a liar. But if you sit back and you look at everything that has happened, Not from the time he was president, but from the time he came down that escalator and said he was going to run for president. And you can go back even further to what happened on 9/11 when he said he stood up on top of a building and watched everything and all these different things, all these lies he tells. This is calculated, and it has been calculated. James Battle, they think by not releasing Jack Smith's report, it will make January 6th never happen. It did happen, and they can't hide it. Oh, that report's coming out. The report's coming out, and I hope to bring it to you because there's so many things that we don't know that we need to know. And I'll say it this way. There are so many people in this country that are blinded to the fact that this man is all about himself, could give a damn about anybody else. He's in cahoots with other world leaders at a level of more of what they can control. Case in point, what president have you ever seen stand up, president-elect, stand at a press conference before he even becomes president and tell people, we're going to regain control of the Panama Canal. We're going to buy Greenland. We're going to make Canada the 51st state. And we're going to take over Mexico if they have a problem. And wants to name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. But I'm going to ask this question to all those Trump supporters out there that may be listening or may listen to this at another time. With him talking about Panama Canal and Greenland and Canada and the Gulf of Mexico, what are you doing for your grocery prices that you so fervently went to vote for him to lower your price of eggs or the light price of gas or the grocery bill? You wanted to save 20 to 25 cents on a dozen eggs or a gallon of gas or all this, which is why you said you voted for him. But he has told you after the fact, he don't think he can change or he can bring the prices of the groceries down like he said he would. But y'all fell for the okie doke because you didn't vote for him about no damn eggs. You didn't vote for him about no gas prices. You didn't vote for him about no economy. That's what you said, but that's not what you voted for him for. You voted for him for the simple fact you felt that he would make white right again in this country. I said it. You voted for him because he's standing up for the white people in this country that you think y'all are losing. That's why. Had nothing to do with policy. Had nothing to do with no damn eggs, no gas, nothing. And the other part, after Barack Obama, and some of you voted for him that chose to vote for Trump this time, after him, y'all couldn't see yourselves voting for a black woman. Let's call it what it is. You could not see yourself voting for a black woman because, number one, you didn't even want to vote for the white woman that ran before or right after Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. You cannot see any woman being in charge of this country, no matter what her complexion is, because you have this mindset that white is right and white men run everything and will get the job done correctly. But what you don't realize is if you go back through history and look, Barack Obama will go down as the greatest president this country has ever seen for the 8 years he served when you talk about economy, policy, and what he did for the American people on a whole. And I don't say this because Barack Obama's black. I say this because it's fact. You can go look for it yourself. You don't have to make it up, but they try to sweep that under the rug because they don't want to make it seem that this first ever black African-American president was the best person this country's ever seen run this country, get it out of debt, and do everything for the American people in 8 years that none of these other presidents have done for the masses in its entirety. And when people want to go back to Abraham Lincoln, freed the slaves, shut up. Shut up. Let that go. It took a war for the slaves to be free. He just happened to be in office. And the Emancipation Proclamation didn't have the total impact to do with the fact of ending slavery, because if you think about it, when they said 40 acres and a mule, when they killed Lincoln, all the 40 acres and a mule that they got, they took back. So no. History will show, if they do report the history as it is and as a fact, President Barack Obama was and still will be, no matter how many people we put in his office, the best president this country has ever seen. Not because he was black, because it's a fact. Take it how you want to take it. Just speaking facts today. Because what we found out is when people wanted to vote for Barack Obama, like Colin Powell, because he was a Republican for so many years, and he said he was voting for Barack Obama, the whole Republican Party who thought he should run for president turned their back on him. A highly decorated military veteran for this country, Secretary of Defense, all those different things, he stood on his principles. And when it came time for him to vote for the best person for the job at the time, when he voted for Barack Obama, they turned their back on him. Because why? He was just another N-word to them once he made the decision to vote for the black guy. But you never hear anybody say anything about white people strictly voting for white people because they're white. Why? Because it's been the status quo since George Washington, up until Barack Obama. Call it what it is. Now, I know I went off a little bit today, y'all, but I'm sorry. I've skated away from some of the topics, but let's just be honest. Today is January 11th. We have a new president, former, new, whatever you want to look at, coming into office, being sworn in on January 20th. That's 9 days. And the symbolism of him being inaugurated on the same day that we celebrate the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, it's not by chance. It's not by chance. Look at the big picture. As I always tell you, God is in control. God has a funny way of showing you lessons. Pay attention. He's in the midst. This man, with the vitriol on everything he does and has done, who goes totally against anything and everything we know Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King to stand on, is being inaugurated into the presidency of this United States on the day we celebrate that great man's birthday. Let that marinate. Let it marinate. How ironic is that? Everything that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood for, this man stands totally against. And he's being inaugurated on the day we celebrate his birthday. Think about it. Think about it. Man, I'm over today. But you know what? I'm still going to give it to you. Mind, body, and soul. Let's go and get this. Y'all hung with me this fall. Hang in there. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. Let's go. Mind, body, and soul, year 2025. This is a year of being intentional. Be intentional. And we also have been talking about, and I brought this up last week, the 3 Ps. Purpose, power, and possibility. With purpose, I align my actions. With power, I claim my strength. And with possibility, I embrace the endless opportunities life offers. Purpose, power, and possibility. Those are the things. Be intentional this year, 2025, with the 3 Ps as your main pillars of what we're standing on this year. Today's mind, body, and soul. The quote is this: remember, you survived every challenge you've faced so far. This one is no different. Remember, you've survived every challenge you've faced so far. This one is no different. There's a lot of things in our lives that we're unsure about. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we pray that we'll be able to wake up in the morning and see another day. But you didn't make it this far to only come this far. These challenges I've been talking about, all these different changes going on in the world, God is still in control. God is still in control. We have to remember that. We have to remind ourselves at times that God is still in control. But don't be blind to the things that are going on around you in this world, in the flesh. There's going to be some challenges this year, the next 4 years, tomorrow. Hell, there's going to be challenges today. But you've made it this far. Don't forget how you've pushed through every battle. Don't forget how you've made it through every part of resistance that's been put in your way. Do not forget how you have persevered past sickness, past controversy, past anything that is coming your way. You've made it this far today. You're a fighter. We all fight each and every day to get past. Some fights are harder than others. Some may take a day, some may take an hour, some may take years. But keep fighting. Don't give up now. These things I've talked about, as I mentioned, these things we talk about, these are worldly things that we know that are going to come our way. When we talk about DEI, when we talk about, all the different changes, when we talk about this new president coming in and the agenda and the Project 2025, Agenda 47, all these things we talk about, no, God's in control. God's got you. But that don't mean you don't need to keep fighting. You need to stand on the principles, stand on the things that you know are right. Do not fall victim to your environment. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you need to do it. Our challenges that we come across may seem like we're never going to come out of it, but you will. We can. We talk about these next 4 years like it's the ending of everything we fought so hard for. And I know some of the things I report and some things I talk about, it may sound that way, but trust me, we've made it through much worse than what we may see or what might think is coming on the horizon because of this one man and the Congress and the Senate and anybody else you can throw in there. We've defeated a lot of things in our lives. Think about that time when you're at your job and everybody's against you about getting promoted and you still pushed yourself and got that promotion. Think about how many times you've been in relationships and people say, leave that relationship alone, but you fought for that relationship to stand in there and stay with that person, not because you wanted to prove them wrong, but because you knew you were right about that person. Think about those family members you've stood up for, even though everybody's seeing them as being thrown away. They said, they ain't no good, they ain't gonna make nothing, but you stood there with them and pushed them through and helped encourage them to become better than they were yesterday. That's all this life is about. Be better than you were yesterday. And everything else falls in line with you because you continue to fight. Now, I can't say that I know. I can't look at no crystal ball and say what's going to happen over these next 4 years or how it's going to impact us or what's going to go on. I can't tell you if you're going to have some kind of health issue or you may lose your job. I can't tell you any of those things are going to happen. But I will tell you that in spite of the fact that if any of those things may happen, you'll make it through. You're strong enough to make it through. You were built for this. You were built for greatness, and greatness never succumbs to difficulties. Stand firm in who you know you are and keep fighting the fight no matter what comes your way. You were built for this, and don't let anybody let you think that you weren't. Even when you have that doubt in your mind that, I can't take this no more. I can't do this more. I'm tired of fighting. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. One bad day does not define your life. One bad hour does not define your 24 hours that you get. One bad minute does not define how the rest of your day is going to go from that way forward. Keep fighting. Keep pushing. And know that you were built for this. You were built to last through this. God gives his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. Stand strong. Stand strong. Remember, you've survived every challenge you faced so far. This one is no different. This one is no different. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Look, we got lot of good shows coming, a lot of good information coming. I'm gonna keep coming at you with it, but hang in there with me, y'all. And as far as the Facebook change, going from Facebook to YouTube and the fan base, check out fan base, give it a gander, go in there, sign up, look around and everything. What you'll see is just something we got to get used to. When Facebook first came out, we had to get used to using that. Fan base is the same thing. You're gonna have to get used to using it. You just got to get in there and play with it. And then when we make that transition from Facebook over to fan base, we're going to keep on rolling just like we've been rolling all these years. Just like we've been rolling. Change becomes difficult when we make it difficult. Change is constant. We just have to adapt to what the changes are. Deborah Harris, keep on pushing. Thank you, brother. No, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all. I'll holler at y'all next week. I'm out. As I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely keep your faith in God. One more thing, like, share, and subscribe. Send this out to your people that you know. Send it out to people, just like you do anything else. Send it out to everybody else. Let them get in here. Let's get this conversation going. Let's talk about these things amongst ourselves and come up with a plan. Because somewhere somebody is listening to this and something struck them to come up with a plan in order to do something that they didn't think they were going to do. That's what it's all about. Let's keep doing what we do. I love y'all, and I'm out, and I'll holler at y'all next week, and I'm out. Peace.